Hey guys, happy Friday. Today's tarot taps. Lord have mercy. Seriously. I got the 10 of Swords. I was like, where is this going? What is this about? And then I got the 3 of Swords. Not another one of my favorites. And then I said, okay, one more. I need to know what's going on here. And then I got the 2 of Swords. Today is a sword-filled day. Coming up. Stay tuned. Oh boy, I tell you. Today's tarot tap. Ooh, hale man. It is not coming in wearing a little cardigan, sipping some chamomile with your pinky up. No, sir. It's asking everyone to just breathe through it. Seriously, we need to just breathe through it. So today's tarot tap opens with 3 cards of swords. 3 of them. Basically, the cards are saying, hey, we need to talk. When the cards say, we need to talk, it's never about the weather, or a grocery list, or whether you gotta hurry up and get the tortillas at HEB because they're gonna expire tomorrow. No, it's about the truth. So it's about the thing we already know, but keep acting like we need a notary. We need a notarized document from God. No. Or from our ancestors, or from the neighbors, or from the Ring camera, the Holy Spirit. And maybe one more tarot pull to be sure. Today, oh baby, the deck said 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, and then the 2 of Swords. Seriously, this is not a whisper. It's a spiritual group text with all caps on. Seriously. So today's Friday, April the 24th, 2026. And the sky, it's already charged, seriously. We are in Taurus season right now. So, the sun is asking us to look at stability, comfort, values, money, the body, the home, the nervous system, and what we've been clinging to just because it feels familiar. Now, there's one thing about Taurus, and if you're a Taurus, you're going to know this is true. Taurus loves peace. Seriously. Taurus loves consistency. Taurus loves a soft blanket, a good meal, a paid bill, a loyal person, and a quiet house where nobody is acting foolish in the living room. I'm not saying silly, all right? I'm saying foolish, doing shit you shouldn't be doing. Today's sky, it's not exactly giving that quiet house energy. I'll be honest. The moon is in its first quarter, all right? And it's in Leo. So, which means that the moon is half lit and growing. This phase, it's about tension, action, choice, definitely choice. And it does have pressure to it. I'll be honest, it does. The phase is about all of that, and it's in the moment where what began as the new moon it's starting to ask for movement now. Half light, but still half shadow. Half knowing, but seriously half resisting still. Half, well, I see the truth, and half, well, let me pretend that I don't see that truth. Let me put these foggy glasses back on, because I am freaking tired. So the first quarter moon in Leo, it's bringing emotional heat, definitely. It's bringing pride, visibility, some drama, but also courage, and the need to stop shrinking from what needs to be seen. We have another big shift happening. Uranus, your anus, or as some people call it, Uranus. Uranus is preparing to move into Gemini on April 25th, of course. Mañana, Tamara. Beginning a major new cycle. And it's around communication and information. That's my stuff. I love it. And I'm a Gemini too. Well, that's probably why I love communication, of course, and information. It's also about technology, media, learning, my favorite, connection, and how the truth travels. So Uranus, or Uranus, that is the planet of disruption. Let's just be honest. It is. But it's also awakenings. That's real important. And shocks. Words. Breakthroughs. Sudden change. Gemini rules the mind, all right? With the words, with the messages, with communication, all that information. So we're standing here right at the edge of a season where the truth, it is about to start moving real fast. I love that. I love the truth, and I love for it to move fast. I really do. I hate lies. I hate living in deceit and illusions. So people are going to start talking. Receipts may surface, and conversations are about to shift. Things that were once hidden in the corners of silence, they may start walking right into the room wearing little old tap shoes. I also want to add that Venus and Uranus have been meeting at the end of Taurus energy. That can shake up relationships, even values, attachments, comfort zones, love patterns, money patterns, and what we thought was secure. That's important because Taurus wants to hold on. Taurus, loyal. I want to hold on. But Uranus says no. Not if this is going to be keeping you stuck. You are not meant to stay stuck. You're going to have to move. You're going to have to get out of this. I ain't going to let that happen. So, yeah. So the sky today is basically, you can love comfort, but don't confuse comfort with truth. So I had my little moment. I caught the 11:11. You know, they say if you see 11:11, make a wish. So yeah, I started making my private wishes, and I love that they are private, and I'm not sharing what my wishes are right now because some prayers, they need to stay between me and the man upstairs, and maybe my ancestors, of course, because they're always listening, and you know, my spirit team, because they're on my side too. I mean, not saying that you're not, but not everything needs to be posted, explained, and sometimes even defended, turned into this whole presentation. You know, especially for people who are already misunderstanding my heart. Some wishes are seeds. I want y'all to remember that. If you're gonna catch 11:11 tonight, just remember that some of our wishes are seeds, okay, and some are extremely sacred. Some wishes, they need darkness before they can bloom. Seriously, it's like, why do we gotta go through all this? But here's what's interesting about 11:11, the mirror energy. It's alignment energy. It is the doorway energy. A spiritual checkpoint, let's call it. It is that little cosmic tap on your shoulder that says, are you walking toward what you say you want? Let's be honest. Or are you still making excuses for what keeps you wounded? Because 11:11 is beautiful energy, yes, but it's not always soft. Sometimes 11:11 is not a little tiny angel, fluttering around with glitter. Sometimes it's God gently but firmly saying, my child, I heard your wish. Now, are you ready to stop protecting the pattern that blocks it? Now that is the energy today, right there. The wish is holy. But the swords, these swords right here, this is honesty, all right? The swords energy. So when you see swords in tarot cards, that's what these are. Those are swords. That is the energy of air. The energy of the truth. Always the truth. So things true need to come here, all right? It's words. These are about words. And also mental exhaustion. Yeah. So let's talk about the swords symbolically. And if you cannot have more swords than 10 right now. This spread is drenched in them. Something that I always remember when I first started with tarot about swords is, imagine you that's the air, right? That's thoughts. That's words. Communication. Truth. It's also conflict. Logic. Decisions. It's also anxiety. So there's a lot of anxiety energy. I hate to say it in these cards. A lot of anxiety energy. I mean, look, she can't even decide, right? This is mental loops. Mentally, you are in a loop that you can't get out of. Conversations, silence, text messages, receipts, clarity, denial, but it's also boundaries. So these swords here, these are not emotional like cups, okay? Like the cards that show the cups, that's not the same thing. They are not physical like the pentacles, the earth of the body, no. They are not fiery like the wands. The swords, that's mental. The swords are mental. So we're all up here mentally. The swords, they cut through. That's what they do. They cut through. That's why the truth comes out. Because when they're cutting through it, hey, they reveal. And they separate truth from fantasy. So yes, they separate truth from fantasies. And sometimes, yeah, that hurts. It does hurt. You know why? Because truth, it can feel very sharp. Especially when you've been cuddling with denial. Like it's your favorite freaking blankie. So, the swords cards say, stop asking how you feel for a second. What do you know? What do you know? And that is kind of like where people kind of get PO'd. Get a little mad. Because feelings, They can negotiate. Feelings can say, but I love them. Feelings can say, but maybe they mean it this time. And feelings can say, but I've invested so much. But I don't want to start over. What if I'm wrong? But swords say, look at the pattern. Not the promise, not the apology, not the performance, not the good day after 20 exhausting ones. So the reading for today, this pattern here. Today, pulling these 3 swords, which means the whole reading is saying that the mind knows. The head knows. And the soul is tired of pretending. Now, let's look at this 10 of Swords. Oh, I hate this card, man. The end of the old story. I mean, that's kind of nice, though. So it makes me want to say, maybe I don't hate it. I just don't like the feeling of it. Because when you get 10 swords in your back like this, overkill, it's pretty painful. But it's the ending of the old story. It's the end. Nothing happens much after this. So the first card I pulled was this, the 10 of Swords. Nobody pulls the 10 of Swords and says, oh, how cute. I love this for me. I love it. Just look, the card looks freaking dramatic. It looks like a spiritual crime scene energy. Somebody's face down, which is possibly me or you. Swords in the back. Sunrise in the distance, like the universe said, well, that was awful, but at least there's a new day coming. So this represents an ending, a betrayal, a mental collapse, exhaustion, hitting the limit, final realization, the end of denial. Thank God I hate denial. That moment that something cannot be revived anymore. But the deeper truth of this 10 of Swords is it's not always the moment that something dies. Sometimes it's the moment you stop pretending it's still alive. So, I mean, that's different, you know? Sometimes the relationship, it was dead a long time ago. Like years, sometimes months, who knows? But the respect was dead. The trust was dead. The effort was dead. And the peace, oh, that peace was dead. The truth was lying on the floor with a little tag on its toe, and everyone kept walking around saying, no, it's fine, it's just resting. No, baby. That thing is not resting. That thing has crossed over. The 10 of Swords is the card of completion through pain. It's when you have thought about something from every angle, over-explained it, excused it, prayed over it, journaled it, pulled cards on it, talked to your best friend about it, cried in the shower about it, stared at the ceiling about it, and still, the answer is the same. This has gone as far as it can go. And today, with Taurus season active, this card may be asking, where have you mistaken what's familiar with safe? Is it familiar or is it safe? Where have you called something stable just because it keeps repeating? So what have you stayed in because, seriously, the change feels scarier than disappointment? Ask yourself, where have you confused loyalty with self-abandonment? Abandoning yourself for being loyal to whatever you think you're being loyal to, a cause, a person, whatever. Because Taurus, they can cling. Taurus can say, but I know this is the place. But Uranus at the edge of Taurus says, exactly, you know it all too well. That's the freaking problem. Seriously. So the Ten of Swords says, you cannot build a future on something that keeps stabbing your peace in the back. And let's just make it plain and simple. Sometimes people do not end things because they lack proof. They end things because their nervous system finally refuses to keep living inside a lie. That is the Ten of Swords energy. The body says, enough. The mind says, I know. And the spirit says, finally, finally. This card can represent the collapse of a mental defense system. That means the story that you were using to survive, it does not work anymore. Those self-defense mechanisms. So while the story may sound something like, well, they will change, it's really not that bad.
This is my name sign.
They didn't mean it. They're just stressed. We've been through so much. Maybe I'm overreacting. I mean, at least they showed up today. Maybe if I love harder, they will mature. Maybe if I stay calm, they will become consistent. But the Ten of Swords says the mind cannot keep building shelter out of broken promises. That is why this card feels so freaking heavy. It's not just pain, it's mental exhaustion. It's the fatigue of repeatedly trying to make something make sense that does not make sense. It's that final moment where the psyche says, I cannot keep editing reality to protect someone else's image. That one bites, but it's true. And the number 10, that big old 10 right there, that's a number of completion. So yeah, it's the end of a cycle, but it's the beginning of another. In tarot, 10s are culmination cards. They show where something has reached its full expression. So with this 10 of Swords right here, the mental cycle is complete. You have thought enough. You have analyzed way too much, probably, but enough. You've given enough benefit of the doubt. And you've played emotional detective long enough. At some point, okay, the soul says, you do not need another clue. You need a decision. And 10, it also reduces to 1 because 1 plus 0 is 1, right? So under the pain of the ending is the seed of a new beginning. That's the hidden blessing in this card. It looks like defeat. It looks like collapse, but it's actually clearance. It looks like the end, but the sunrise in the card says you survived the thing you thought would break you. Now get up and be different. And then all of a sudden, we get this 3 of Swords. Oh, the heart. The heart already knew. So, when I pulled this, I was like, no, I need more. I need more. What? Seriously. Spirit said, all right, let's not be vague today. We ain't being vague today. Let's just put the heart through the swords, because suddenly it left the building. This represents heartbreak. And every time this card has ever come up for me, somebody's breaking up. I'm not kidding you. I promise. And it's never been wrong. Who's breaking up? Or somebody's heart is seriously gonna get broken. Or broken. It is broken already. There's grief here. There is a painful truth. Emotional betrayal. Clarity that freaking hurts. Words that wound. And the truth is piercing the heart. That's the source of the truth, remember? The truth is piercing the heart. The grief of realizing that something really is. But here's where we go a little deeper, all right? This is not just heartbreak. It's the heartbreak that comes when your heart finally accepts what your mind has been trying to tell you. It's when you stop saying, maybe I misunderstood, and start saying, no, I understand. I didn't want to. So that's this Three of Swords energy. This card is the ache of the truth. Not fantasy pain, truth pain. And there is a difference. Fantasy pain is when we hurt because we are imagining the worst. And truth pain is when we hurt because we are finally seeing clearly. And today, the Three of Swords sits right between the 10 and the 2, which I'm coming up in a minute, but it sits right between them two. Like the emotional center of the reading. The 10 says it's over. It's over. At least the old version is. And the 3 says, yeah, this shit hurt, man. This was painful. Yes, it hurts. It hurts. And then the 2 comes in after and says, now stop refusing to choose. Stop. That's powerful. That is really powerful. This is not just a reading about pain. This is a reading about the sequence of awakening. First, the mind collapses under the weight of the truth. Then the heart is just grieving. And then the soul must decide. This is cognitive dissonance, becoming emotional honesty. Hey guys, so I'm back. I'm sorry, I just went outside to take my little grandson for a little bike ride, and oh my god, my allergies, they had gotten to me so bad. But I wrote down here cognitive dissonance because I think that's what I was talking about. So cognitive dissonance is when two truths cannot live peacefully in the same room. So it's like, I love them, and they keep hurting me. I want this to work, and this shit is destroying my peace. They can be sweet, but they're still inconsistent. They say the right things, but their actions, they do not match. That inner split, that's what creates the anxiety. Because the brain wants consistency. It does. The heart, it wants hope. The heart always wants hope. And the body wants safety. And when those three things are not aligned, we feel torn apart inside. So that's this Three of Swords. It's the pain of trying to hold two realities. The person's potential and the damn person's pattern. So yeah, potential, it will have you out here emotionally financing a house that nobody's building. Potential will have you paying like spiritual rent on property that doesn't even exist. So the Three of Swords, stop loving the version of someone that only shows up in your imagination, your prayers, or after they get caught. Because that's not a relationship. That's an unpaid emotional labor with background music. Now let's think about the numerology of 3, the number 3. The number 3 is expression, it's growth, it's manifestation, and communication. But in the Three of Swords, the number 3 shows where something has come into visible form through pain. So 3 can represent you, the other person, the truth between you, or mind, heart, or past, or present, or even the future. And in this card, all 3 are pierced by the same truth. The Three of Swords says, this truth is not just in your head anymore. It has entered the heart. And once the truth enters the heart, you cannot unfeel it. You can distract yourself, and you can clean the kitchen, you can make, what did I make yesterday? Tomato basil soup. You can scroll Facebook, and you can say, I'm fine. With the same energy as a raccoon trapped in a church pantry. But the heart knows. The heart always knows. And today, the heart is not asking to be dramatic. It's asking to be believed. Then the Two of Swords comes in, right? The decision nobody wants to make. And that's why there's a blindfold over the eyes. You can go one way or the other. So yeah, afterwards I was like, I got this one, and then I got this one, and I was like, okay, I need one more. Seriously, I wanted one more because I needed some good news. I thought something great's gonna happen. Something good's gonna happen. And of course, the Two of Swords. Because after the ending and the heartbreak, here comes the crossroads. The Two of Swords represents indecision, avoidance, stalemate, blocked emotions, not wanting to see, mental shutdown, choosing between two truths, needing clarity but resisting it. The woman in this card is often blindfolded, holding two swords crossed over her chest because the image is everything. She is not powerless. She has two swords. She has the ability to choose. But yeah, she's blindfolded. And here's the part that people don't like. Sometimes the blindfold was placed there by somebody else, but sometimes we keep it on because seeing clearly, okay, that's going to require some action, and sometimes we're not ready to take the action. So this is the Two of Swords. It's the pause between realization and decisions. And that's where so many people get stuck. They say, I just need more time. I just need more proof. I just need one more conversation. I just need to see what happens. Maybe I just need to pray about it. Now listen, prayer is holy, don't get me wrong. Time can be wise, and reflection matters. But sometimes I need one more time. I need more time. That's just fear wearing church clothes. Sometimes I need more proof means I'm not ready to accept the proof that I already have. And sometimes I'm waiting on God means God has already answered, but we were hoping that he would change his mind and make that person act right. You got free will though, remember that. When the Two of Swords comes up, it's here to let you know that you're not confused, but you are conflicted, no doubt. Now that's different. That's different. Confusion means you don't know. And conflicted means you know, but the knowing hurts. So the psychology in this of the Two Swords is emotional avoidance. The nervous system gets overwhelmed, so the mind freezes. It says, okay, we're just not going to deal with this today. Today we're not going to deal with this. And honestly, sometimes that's how the survival starts, the survival mode. That's survival. But you cannot live there. That's not living. Avoidance can protect you for a minute. But over time, avoidance, it becomes a prison with throw pillows. It looks comfortable, but it's keeping you trapped. And this Two of Swords is asking, what truth are you refusing to name because naming it would change everything? What decision keeps circling back because you keep postponing it? And what part of you already knows but is waiting for your courage to catch up? This is not about rushing. This is about honesty. You cannot heal what you keep calling complicated when it's actually painful. You cannot fix what someone else refuses to own. Why am I so zoomed in? You cannot keep choosing peace by avoiding truth because that's not peace. That is tension with better lighting. And the number two represents duality, choices, relationships, balance, opposition, and reflection. 2 says it's either this or it's that. You either stay or you go. Speak or silence. Believe the words or believe the pattern. Protect the fantasy or protect the self. Keep waiting or start waking. 2 of Swords is not asking you to make a reckless decision. It's asking you to stop calling avoidance discernment. That one's spicy, but it's true. Because discernment is not denial. Discernment sees clearly. So denial squints at the obvious and says, maybe it's not that bad. That's how denial works. Okay, so we have a 10, right? Number 10. We have a 3. And we have a 2. So 10 and 3 and 2, right? That's 1 plus 5. That's 6. That's very interesting. Because 15 in tarot, that connects to the devil card. Ew. And the devil is about bondage, attachment, temptation, addiction to patterns, trauma loops, false comfort, unhealthy desire, power dynamics. That's the devil card. Manipulation, that's a strong one. Obsession, and the chains that we swear we cannot move, even though the lock has been open the whole time. So underneath the sword spread is a devil's shadow. So the devil's shadow would be, what metal chain are we still calling love? What toxic pattern are you still calling loyalty today? And what dysfunction are you still calling family? And what anxiety are you still calling intuition? We think we have a bad feeling. We think it's our intuition, like, oh, let's have an ugly feeling. I don't feel something's wrong. It's called anxiety. That's what that is. What waiting are we still calling patience? What emotional whiplash are we still calling passion? The devil energy, it says, be honest about what has power over you. What is that weird smell?
That's this.
What is that stuff?
That's for my callus.
Oh, God. What waiting are we still calling patience? Look blurry. Now I'm like, okay. What waiting are we still calling patience? What emotional whiplash are we still calling passion? Well, the devil energy says, be honest about what has power over you. Not to shame you, to free you. Then 15 reduces to 6. 1 plus 5 is 6, which that connects to the Lovers card. And the Lovers, it's not just romance. It's a choice, values, alignment, moral crossroads. The decision to choose what matches your soul instead of what feeds your attachment. So the numerology says the chain becomes a choice. The devil says this has power over you. And the Lover says, choose differently. That's the whole hidden numerology of today. The pain, it's not pointless. The heartbreak, it's not just heartbreak. And the indecision, it's not just confusion. This is a choice point, a soul level choice point. All these swords and Uranus moving into Gemini, or Uranus moving into Gemini. Here is where the cards and the sky start talking to each other. Like the old woman at a kitchen table with coffee and receipts. Swords are air. Gemini is air. Uranus, moving. Uranus. Stop laughing every time I say that. I'm going to call it Uranus because of the immature people. Uranus moving into Gemini, it's being electrified. It really is. So your sword spread, it's completely aligned with the cosmic weather. It is. And this is not watery, emotional confusion. This is air. Words. Thoughts. Conversations. Messages. Screenshots. Truth. Information. Realization. And mental awakening. The universe is preparing to shift into a cycle where the way we communicate, the way we think, the way we process and share truth, it's about to change. Uranus entering Gemini, it's considered a major shift involving, like I said, communication, media, information, technology, connection, and even learning. So these cards here, they're saying the truth is going to move. And when the truth starts moving, denial starts, sweating. Because denial only survives when things stay quiet. And denial, it needs silence. Denial needs confusion. Denial needs people not comparing notes. Denial needs nobody asking questions. Denial needs everybody pretending the emperor has clothes on when the man is emotionally naked in the produce aisle. But Uranus and Gemini, somebody is gonna say it. Somebody is gonna ask.
Guest appearance.
Somebody is gonna notice. And somebody is going to connect dots. Right? Yeah. Somebody's gonna stop playing dumb just to keep the peace. Oh boy, and that is definitely sword energy. And that is why today feels so mentally charged. First quarter moon in Leo. The performance gets exposed. Now let's bring in the Leo moon. Leo energy is bold. It is visible. Dramatic. Come on, do you know any Leos? Very proud. There's a Leo over there. Very creative. Very heart-centered. Leos can be beautiful. They can be generous, extremely generous, and very protective and very warm. But Shadow Leo performs. Shadow Leo wants applause without accountability sometimes.
What?
And Shadow Leo wants to be seen as loving without doing the work of love sometimes. Shadow Leo wants the audience. Shadow Leo wants the role, wants the title, wants the photo op. And with today's first quarter moon in Leo, the emotional pressure, it may expose when someone is performing instead of embodying. That's a huge part of this energy. Because swords, they don't care about performance. Swords ask, what is true? Not what did they post? Not what did they say? Not what did they do once everyone was watching? Not, well, how did it look from the outside? What is true behind closed doors? The Leo moon, it says, look at what is being shown. The swords say, now look at what's being hidden. Together they ask, is this love or is this a theater? Because there's a difference. Love is consistent when there's no camera. Performance waits for an audience. Love takes responsibility. Performance takes a bow. Love repairs. Performance distracts. Love shows up quietly. Those are my cards. Performance. Oh, do you have poop? So yeah, love shows up quietly and performance arrives loudly and expects credit for doing the bare minimum with jazz hands. On today's swords, they're not impressed by jazz hands. Sorry. Taurus season. Stop calling the cage a home. That's what I gotta tell you about Taurus season. Stop calling the cage a home. The sun in Taurus is very important here. Taurus wants security, but sometimes what feels secure is only familiar. That's the trap. The body can get used to chaos. On the nervous system, it can get used to inconsistency. The heart, it can get used to waiting, and the mind, it can get used to making excuses. After a while, dysfunction starts feeling normal because your system has adapted to it. That's why healing can feel very scary. Peace can feel very boring at first. And consistency, it can feel suspicious. Healthy love can feel too quiet. Because if you've been living in emotional sirens, silence feels like something's wrong. So Taurus season asks, what actually makes you feel safe? Not what are you used to? Not what can you tolerate? Not what can you explain away? But what actually nourishes you? What lets your shoulders drop? What lets your breath come back? And what lets your spirit unclench? If something repeatedly costs you your peace, it may be familiar, but it ain't home. And today's Ten of Swords, stop decorating the cage and calling it stability. The spiritual message, God, ancestors, the spirit team, spiritually this read feels like God, your ancestors, and your spirit team are standing around you saying, we are not punishing you with the truth. We are protecting you with the truth. And that's important because sometimes the truth feels cruel when fantasy has been comforting us. But the truth, it's not cruelty. Truth is medicine. Bitter sometimes, yes. Hard to swallow, absolutely. But medicine. And today's energy says you cannot wish at 11:11 for a new life while mentally defending the old wound. You cannot pray for peace and keep negotiating with chaos. And you cannot ask God for clarity and then argue with every answer because it's not the answer that your attachment wanted. Your answers are your ancestors, hey, are out here throwing spiritual traffic cones at you. Hey. And you're ignoring every red flag that they throw. Why? At some point, the Spirit says, baby, we have sent the signs. Now we need you to stop calling them coincidences. The Ten of Swords is a sign. The Three of Swords is the pain. And the Two of Swords is the decision. And this is where we're going to go deeper, because the brain will defend what the soul has outgrown. The brain is built for survival, not always truth. The brain likes familiar patterns because familiar feels predictable even when it hurts. That's why people stay in loops. Not because they're stupid, not because they don't know better, not because they're weak, but because their nervous system has learned the rhythm of the dysfunction. It knows when the silence comes. It knows when the apology comes. It knows when the charm comes. It knows when the performance comes. It knows when the disappointment comes. And it knows when to brace, knows when to hope, knows when to shut down. And that cycle becomes so addictive, not because it's good, but because it's known. And that's why the Two of Swords is so important, because the Two of Swords is not just indecision. It's the nervous system standing at the doorway saying, I know this hurts, but at least I know it hurts. That's heartbreaking, but it's honest. And healing requires us to say, I do not want to keep choosing the pain that I understand just because peace feels unfamiliar. That's the sword truth today. And you know what? We do need to laugh, or we'll start throwing throw pillows or something, or punches. Let's be real. This spread is giving. I'm fine. But the Spirit is in a full neck brace. I just need one more sign while God is blinking the sign in neon above the refrigerator. It's giving, maybe they'll change. And your ancestors are sitting in the corner like, baby, we've seen this episode. The writing is lazy. Let me just pull one more card. And the deck says, girl, we already gave you 10 of Swords. What do you want next? A notarized betrayal certificate? And listen, no judgment. We have all done it. We ask for clarity. And then when clarity arrives, we say, okay, but can you clarify the clarity? Then we clarify the clarification. And then we ask, but what is the hidden meaning? And Spirit is like, the hidden meaning is the same as the obvious meaning, beloved. The cards today, they're not whispering in ancient riddles. Are holding up a sword and saying, cut it out! Literally. So, the ending is not the tragedy. The tragedy is knowing something is over and still letting it consume your life force. The Ten of Swords says, The cycle has reached its limit. And the Three of Swords says, the heart is grieving what the mind can no longer deny. And the Two of Swords, where'd you put it? The Two of Swords says the indecision has been postponed long enough. And the Sky says truth is accelerating. The Leo Moon says the performance, it may be exposed. And the Taurus season says your peace matters. And Uranus entering Gemini says the words, the messages, the information, and the realization are about to move. 11:11 says the doorway is open, but you still have to walk through. So, for anyone listening today, the Tarot Tap is not about telling you to burn your whole life down by lunchtime. Please do not hear the Ten of Swords and start texting people like, the card said you're dead to me. No, baby, put the phone down. Drink some water. Maybe eat a protein. Eat some protein. This is about inner honesty. This is about seeing clearly. This is about noticing where your body has been begging for peace. This is about asking yourself, what am I tired of pretending does not hurt? What have I already outgrown? Oopie! Doopie! This is about asking yourself, what am I tired of pretending does not hurt? What have I already outgrown? Where am I waiting for someone else to become what I needed them to be, but instead of accepting who they keep choosing to be? Where have I confused hope with avoidance? And where have I used maybe as a hiding place? Let me say this because it feels very important today. Maybe is where people lose years. I've said it before. I say it all the time. Maybe they mean it. Maybe they'll show up. Maybe this time is different. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I should wait. Okay, so maybe there's an explanation. Maybe they'll finally see. Maybe they'll finally change. And like I told you before, maybe can become a whole prison if we are not careful. The Two of Swords, the pattern has already answered. Now when we look at these, sorry, I'm cooking. When we look at these and we think about colorology, because I love numerology, but I also like colorology too. So look at these. The swords often carry colors like gray, blue, white, steel, the storm clouds, the pale skies. These colors in these cards, they matter, okay? Gray represents uncertainty, mental fog, emotional exhaustion, and the in-between space. The blue represents truth, communication, the throat chakra, and emotional honesty. White represents clarity, surrender, cleansing, and spiritual truth. Steel or silver represents the blade of discernment. It's sharp, reflective, and really honest. Today's color feels like a storm clearing. Not the pretty rainbow. No, not yet. So this is that moment before. The moment before. And the sky is still gray, and the air, it's still tense. And the truth, very sharp. But something's clearing here. And honestly, that's a blessing. You know, we don't like to think of it like that, but it is. Sometimes clarity, it does not arrive like sunshine. Sometimes clarity arrives like thunder. So for today, we should actually pause before reacting. Write down the truth, seriously, without editing it. And notice what your body knows, because your body knows, I promise you. Stop asking for more proof. The proof is already there. Watch actions, not performances. It's easy to perform. I think it is. Protect your peace. Pray for clarity and courage. And do not force conversations with people committed to misunderstanding you. Let your silence become sacred, not avoidant. And make a decision internally before making a move externally. I'm going to say this right now. This is not a day, this Friday, this is not a day for emotional impulsiveness. It's a day for honest observation. The first quarter moon gives action energy. But the Two of Swords says choose with clarity, not chaos. So no messy texts, no dramatic announcements, no social media subliminals, so obvious they come with the GPS coordinates. No, I'm done speech if you're gonna open the door again in 47 minutes. Today is about inner alignment first, then action. Let's pray. God, ancestors, and spirit team, meet us in the places where we are tired of pretending. Give us the courage to see what is true without turning truth into punishment. Help us stop defending patterns that keep breaking our hearts. And help us stop confusing what's familiar with what's safe. And help us trust with our bodies, our spirits, and our hearts what our heart has been already telling us. Where something has ended, please give us peace. Where something has hurt, give us healing. And where a decision has to be made, please give us clarity. And where we are afraid to remove the blindfold, stand beside us so we finally choose truth. Amen. The truth will set you free, but first it will make you honest. Sometimes the closure isn't realizing you already have enough evidence. The body keeps score, but the soul, it keeps whispering. Peace, it's not found by avoiding the decision. Peace begins when you stop betraying yourself. Not every ending is destruction. Some endings are divine protection. with a dramatic entrance. So, today's tarot tap is this. It's 9 o'clock p.m. at 11:11. Wish for what your soul wants. And I did earlier. And then the cards showed me what my soul needs to release in order to receive it. Or what you need to release collectively. This Ten of Swords says the old story's reached its limit. Three of Swords says the heart is hurting because the truth has landed. And the Two of Swords says the choice is waiting. And the Sky says communication, truth, and awakening are about to speed up. So today, do not be afraid of these swords. The swords are not here to destroy you. They're here to cut the ropes. They're here to slice through denial. And they're here to separate fantasy from fact. They are here to remind you that the truth may hurt, but self-betrayal, that hurts longer. And if the truth is standing at the door today, don't make it knock all weekend. Open the door. Let the truth in. Offer it coffee or tea. And ask why it came. What it came for. To set free. Set it free.